Okay, welcome back, guys. So till now we have seen article 111. Okay, so till article 111 we are done. Okay, now we're gonna start with budget. Okay, so this budget is basically in Indian polity terms. Okay, in the perspective of Indian polity. When I say budget, don't feel as if it is like economy. No, it is completely Indian polity style. Later in your economy classes, you're gonna deal with budget in detail, where you will see all your economic surveys, budget, and everything. What are the things there in budget? Everything you'll see there. Okay, but the process which is mentioned in the constitution, that you'll see here in the polity. Okay, so when I say budget, which is mentioned in article 112. 112. Okay, it is mentioned as annual financial statement. Annual financial statement. But this budget term, nowhere it is mentioned in the constitution. Nowhere it is mentioned in the constitution. What is budget? See, budget is a French word. It is a French word. What does it means? It just means a leather bag, leather pouch, leather pocket. Okay, so what happens is, like in France, their minister used to come with a red color leather bag. From that red color leather bag, they used to take the papers out. They used to introduce those papers in the house. So whenever this minister is coming, people started calling him as he's coming with a budget. He's coming with a budget. But actually, financial statement is there inside the budget. Okay, so now this became a general practice. Whosoever is submitting the financial statement in their houses, people started calling it as budget. But budget means merely a leather bag, a red color leather bag. Okay, so using this leather bag, we'll introduce budget in the house, annual financial statement in the house. So in article 112, it is given annual financial statement. Okay, and you need to keep a note that budget, nowhere it is mentioned. Nowhere it is mentioned in the constitution. Mentioned in the constitution. Okay, write down this. I'll explain you later. So budget is a French term, which means simply it is a leather bag. See, even in our India also, whenever Nirmala Sitharaman comes to introduce the budget, she'll come up with a red color bag. Have you ever seen? Yes. So that bag is leather bag. Okay, that's the reason we are even calling it as budget. Okay, so what is budget? Generally, it will cover all the income points and it will cover all the expenses points. Let's say we are running a family. Okay, so what will happen is, like, you will calculate your salary, monthly income, and on the other side you will calculate your expenses. You'll see if there is amount which is left, then you will try to invest. If there is amount which is deficit, then you will try to get the loan from the neighbors or from the bank. Generally this will happen, right? This is regarding to a family. If it comes to country level, then it is called as budget. Annual financial statement of the union government. Okay, on one side it will have its expenses, on the other side it will have its income sources. Okay, so here in polity we gonna cover the process. What is the process? How we gonna introduce the budget? What is the process? Only process we'll see. In economy, what we gonna see? What is budget? What is economic survey? I mean, previous year economic survey we'll see. And in the budget, what will be the terms? Everything we're gonna see in economy. But in polity, we'll simply see, just like we have seen the money bill procedure. Similarly, we'll see the process of budget here. Okay, so budget generally introduced by finance minister, but on the behalf of president. It is introduced by finance minister, introduced by finance minister on behalf of president. Okay, see, generally what happens is, see, we have ministries portfolios. Under each and every ministry we have departments. Yes, so now what happens is these departments will be given some time. Now these departments will come up with their budget. See, we are trying to implement these policies. So in a year we need this much of amount. Okay, so we have so many departments. All these departments will come up with their demand for grants. Okay, which means they are demanding for the grants, which means they are demanding for the money. Okay, see, every department, they'll come up with a scheme, they'll come up with a policy, they'll come up with a service. Yes, they'll come up with a contract. Yes, to do all these things, what they need? Money. So what happens is finance ministry, it will give time to each and every department. Okay, so each and every department, they'll come up with demand for grants, which means they'll come up with a paper in which they are demanding for the money. Okay, so directly these demand for grants, they won't be introduced in the house. What happens is, first we have 24 departmental committees. Okay, so these demand for grants from the departments will reach to 24 departmental committees. Okay, now see, these departmental committees are just like parliamentary committees. Parliamentary committees, what they will do, they'll check the bill, they'll divide it into parts, they'll discuss on each and every bill. Similarly here, departmental committees, they'll discuss on each and every demand for grant from each and every department. Okay, so if there are any changes needs, like you are asking for 1000 crores but 800 crores are enough for this. Okay, if there are any changes, then they'll make the changes. Now they'll introduce this demand for grants in the house. Okay, so now these demand for grants are introduced in the house. Okay, now what happens is, like, there will be discussion, debate and voting. While voting, opposition parties will come up with cut motions. Opposition parties will come up with cut motions. There are 3 types of cut motions. Policy cut motion. What is that? Policy cut motion. Economy cut motion. Economy cut motion. And the third one is token cut motion. Okay, so just to oppose, opposition will oppose the budget. Okay, these cut motions are the way of opposition to oppose the budget. The way of opposition to oppose the budget. So generally in Lok Sabha, who has a majority? Government. So obviously no cut motion will be passed. These all the demand for grants will be passed. Okay, now Parliament approved each and every scheme and each and every work of the departments. Okay, but till now departments didn't got the money. What they have to do? They have to take money from the Consolidated Fund of India. So to take Consolidated Fund of India, money from the Consolidated Fund of India, what they have to do? They have to introduce appropriation bill. Okay, so this appropriation bill is further divided into two types. One is the charges, I mean the money which is charged from CFI, and the other one is money which is not charged from CFI. Okay, so the money which is charged from CFI, they can discuss but they cannot vote because it is already considered to be passed. But the money which is not charged from the CFI, they'll make their discussions, debate, and they'll vote. If they are passed, then only they can take money from the CFI. Okay, and then it will reach to the president. He cannot send back the bill for consideration because this is a money bill. Understood story? Now I'll write along with me. Introduced by finance ministry on behalf of president. Done? Yes? No? Write down. Introduced by finance minister on behalf of president. Where they'll introduce? In Lok Sabha. Only in Lok Sabha, because this is money bill. Okay, so only in Lok Sabha. Okay, so after introducing this budget will be given to 24 departmental committees. See, we have only 24 departmental committees, but we have more than 40 departments. So some departmental committees will get one bill, one demand for draft to review. Okay, but some departmental committees will get more than one. Okay, what these departmental committees will do? They'll review the demand for drafts. They'll review the demand for drafts. Okay, once after the review, what happens? The demand for drafts will be introduced in the house. Demand for grants will be introduced in the house. For discussion. Okay, so meanwhile, while discussion, I have already told you, opposition will come up with cut motions. Opposition will come up with cut motions. There are three types of cut motions. One is policy cut motion, economy cut motion, and the third one is token cut motion. What are these motions? I'll tell you. Okay, but for now, write down these names. Okay, cut motions for now, understand it as the way of opposition to oppose. The way of opposition to oppose the budget. So demand for grants will be introduced in the house. Then opposition will come up with the cut motions. Now what happens? Cut motions will not pass and the demand for grants will be passed because in Lok Sabha, government has majority. Okay. So demand for grants will be passed. Demand for grants will be passed. Then they need to take money from the CFI. To take money from the CFI, what they have to do? Appropriation bill they have to introduce. Appropriation bill. This is further divided into how many types? Two types. One is expenses or else money charged from the CFI. Money charged from CFI. Okay, I mean, today itself I'll tell you what are the monies, what are the expenses which are charged from CFI. Okay, so one is money charged from the CFI, and the other one is money not charged from the CFI. So here they can discuss, vote. They can discuss and they can vote. Okay, here they can discuss, but they cannot vote because automatically it is deemed to be passed. Okay, with the demand for grants, see, once the demand for grants is passed, okay, these money charged from CFI, this is deemed to be passed. Okay, so once the demand for grants is passed, you can take money from the CFI from this category. No need of appropriation bill. Okay, but still they'll introduce the appropriation bill. With the appropriation bill, they'll discuss. So how much salary you are giving to Supreme Court judge? They'll discuss. Everything they'll discuss. But they cannot vote because it is deemed to be passed. Okay, and then we have another type money which is not charged from the CFI. On that they'll discuss, they'll vote. Through voting they'll pass the appropriation bill, then only they can take money from the CFI. Okay, done. Done, right? So once it is passed, then it will reach to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha, what it can do? Merely it can hold the bill for 14 days. It cannot reject, it cannot amend. Okay, merely it can hold the bill for 14 days. Okay, so same provisions of money bill, or else write down maximum it can hold the bill for, hold the budget for 14 days. It cannot reject, it cannot send back the bill, it cannot return, sorry, it cannot amend. Okay, then it will reach to president. President cannot, he can give his assent, cannot withhold, cannot return. Okay, so this is the way to pass the budget. This is the way to pass the budget. Done? Understood? Yes. So along with the demand for drafts, they'll pass a finance bill as well, wherein they'll mention what all the charges, I mean receipts of the government, what all the tax charges, okay, from where government is getting the money. All these things they'll mention in one more bill, which is called as finance bill. So along with the demand for drafts, they'll pass this finance bill as well. Okay, so write down, note, along with demand for drafts, along with demand for drafts, They'll pass finance bill which contains receipts of government, which means from where the government is getting the money, those details will be there in finance bill. And in the demand for drafts, government expenses will be there, from where government is going to spend the money, on which policy, on which contract, on which work. These all things will be there in demand for, sorry, grants. Demand for grants. Okay. And the receipts of the government are mentioned in the finance bill. So together these two bills will be passed. This is called as budget. In the budget we have our income, our expenditure. So expenditure is demand for grants, and the income is finance bill in which receipts of the government is mentioned. Okay, so these two bills together they'll pass. But finance bill, I mean, we don't have any demand for grants, and then appropriation bill, all these things won't be there. Simply they'll introduce as a finance bill and they'll pass it as a finance bill. Any doubts? No? Sure? See, you might have asked me this one. When I say finance bill, okay, on this bill also Rajya Sabha cannot reject, cannot return. Okay, because the name is finance bill, wherein the receipts of the government are mentioned. But the actually, the name of the bill is finance bill, but this is money bill only. Along with the budget, they'll pass, so they'll write it as money bill only. Okay, but the name is finance bill. Okay, but it doesn't mean it is a finance bill comes under Article 117 Clause 1. It is considered as money bill, and Rajya Sabha has no powers on the finance bill. Okay. Generally, budget together they'll pass. When I say budget, expenses and income. Okay. So both together they'll pass. So while passing together, they'll treat it as single bill. So that single bill is money bill. So Rajya Sabha don't has any powers on the finance bill as well. Because the name is finance bill, but the character is money bill. Okay. So keep a note. Finance bill, the name is finance bill, but the character is money bill. So Rajya Sabha cannot reject or amend the bill. Finance bill, the name is finance bill. Finance bill, the finance bill, the name is finance bill, but the character is money bill. But the character is money bill. So Rajya Sabha cannot reject the bill. So Rajya Sabha cannot reject the bill or amend the bill. Rajya Sabha cannot reject or amend the bill. Okay, maximum it can hold for 14 days. So with this, budget is done. Any doubts? Any doubts? No? Sure? Sure. Yes, I mean same. Similarly, a money bill, just like money bill only. It will go to Rajya Sabha. But Rajya Sabha has limited powers. Maximum it can hold for 14 days. Because budget, money, 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 money. So money means money bills. Money bill means Rajya Sabha has no power. Maximum it can hold till 14 days. Any more questions? Sure. No. finance minister will not be, I mean, for sure she or he will present on that day. If not the case, finance minister on behalf of her, they'll appoint someone. It's their discretion. Okay, any more? Huh? No. See, generally I have told you on parliamentary proceedings there are no judicial reviews. Okay, and this is a money bill, so limited power, speaker decision is final. Okay, and money bill, I mean, see, even what they'll do, even if they'll make any judicial review. Okay, see, budget here, see, if your budget is good, with your budget people are satisfied, people will reappoint you, re-elect you. If your budget is bad, people are not satisfied, if you then you will be not elected again. Okay, so budget means your ideology, your party's ideology, on which sources you have to you are trying to spend, what are the schemes you are trying to implement, to whom you want to favor. This is your party's ideology. Okay, after introducing budget, if people liked you, then they'll elect you again. If the people didn't like you, then they won't elect you again. Okay, so budget is purely legislature matter. Okay, government's matter, because government, while coming into the government, before it will come up with a manifesto. By following the manifesto, it will introduce the budget. So budget is nothing but government's ideology. So if your budget is good, if you're following your manifesto, people will decide whether you will come again or not. So budget is discretion of government. Any more questions? Simple majority. Okay, see, only constitutional amendment bill needs special majority. Normal ordinary bill and this money bill, simple majority is enough. And one more question, like, see, I have told you article 110 and article 19. Okay, here the discretion in power is with speaker. So let's say a speaker didn't prepare for UPSC, he don't know article 110, then also he writed a money bill on a bill. Okay, then it will be considered as money bill. So generally speaker don't know the definition of money bill. Okay, if government is asking, if prime minister is asking him to declare it as money bill, he'll declare it is. Okay, so while declaring a bill as a money bill, okay, it shouldn't, I mean, even it doesn't has any of the single clause of article 110, then also he can consider it as money bill. Example, Aadhaar bill, it won't comes under article 117 clause 1, Aadhaar bill. If it was the case, then Rajya Sabha has power to discuss and vote. Then Rajya Sabha for sure it will reject the bill. That's the reason they introduced it as article 110. Okay, wherein it doesn't even have single provision of money bill, but still they introduced it as money bill. So what happened is, see, while the introduction, it introduced as finance bill, so Rajya Sabha actually it is waiting, let the bill come, I'll see. Okay, so before sending the bill, what they have done, money bill, speaker just wrote it as money bill. Now it went to Rajya Sabha. What will happen? It can merely stop the bill for 14 days. Nothing much it can do. Okay, so that's how the Aadhaar bill got passed. So here the speaker's decision is final and it cannot be challenged in any court. Okay, so this is all about budget, and I have told you here we have money charged from CFI. So keep a heading as expenses or expenditure charged from CFI. Expenditure charged from CFI. Expenditure charged from CFI. Okay, so first one is president salary. President salary. Okay, second one is speaker, deputy speaker, chairman, deputy chairman, all these guys salaries. Supreme Court judges, their salaries. Fourth one is CAG salary. Okay, and the fifth one is president's office. Supreme Court, CAG, UPSC, like expenses of the office. Whatsoever the expenses are, these expenses will be considered as charged from CFI. Okay, write down this. We have some more. I'll tell you. So here, this is clear, right? President's salary. Okay, see, generally president's salary, okay, it is charged from CFI. So while introducing the budget, no need to vote on this. Okay, directly you can give salary to the president because it is deemed to be passed. Okay, similarly, speaker, deputy chairman, deputy speaker, chairman, deputy chairman, these salaries, and then Supreme Court judges salaries, and then CAG salary, then president office, Supreme Court, CAG, UPSC, the office expenses, which means these officers will have staff need to pay its salary. Okay, and some more expenses will be there, stationary expenses, if they want to roam here and there, their expenses. Okay, if they are keeping a criminal or their biryani expenses, so everything will comes under expenses of the offices will be charged from CFI. Okay, and one more thing, interests paid towards the loans of government. Government took a loan. Okay, now the people is asking for the interest. Government cannot say like, okay, I have introduced the bill, please wait, let them accept, then I'll pay. No, that was not the case. Okay, so if you are taking loan from them, you have to give interest to them. They will not wait for your approval of your parliament. Okay, so that's the reason this is also charged from CFI. Okay, when I say UPSC office, okay, so office staff, not the IS and IPS, office staff. There will be office. In the office, they have their staff. The staff which is there in that office, their salary will be charged from CFA. Okay. So see, all these points I'm saying these are charged from CFA, which means central government CFA. Similarly, we have some more state government CF, consolidated fund of state. Okay, so from that, governor's salary will be charged, speaker and deputy speaker of legislative assembly will be charged, high court judges will be charged, CAG, it is same for center and state, so CAG's salary will be charged from central government. Okay, and then governor's office, high court, and then SPSC. Okay, so all the expenses of the office will be charged from state CFA, sorry, consolidated fund of the state. Okay, and then this interest will be taken by government, central government and state government. So central government interest will be charged from CFI, state government interest will be charged from state CF. Okay, and then let's say Supreme Court has given a verdict. Okay, what it has said is, I mean, see, that office is there. Okay, that is not legal. Okay, they have occupied property and illegally they have constructed. Okay, So now Supreme Court is ordering the government to dismantle that building. Okay, then I mean it comes out with a cost, right? So to implement, see, you cannot say like, I mean, it is a matter of dismantling. To dismantle, no, they'll charge, the workers will charge. Yes. So to implement the verdicts of Supreme Court, okay, if there are expenses, then those expenses will come under charges on CFI, charged expenditure on CFI. Understood? Let's say Supreme Court has said, see, this guy is innocent person. You arrested this person. He suffered in the jail. Okay. Now he has a children. He has two children, two kids. Okay. He has to take care of those kids. So it's your fault. That's the reason you arrested him. Okay. It's your fault. So give him 50 lakhs. Okay. So that he'll survive. So this 50 lakhs is charged from CFA. Okay. So to implement verdict of CFI, sorry, verdict of Supreme Court or else courts, the expenditure is charged on CFI. So these are the 7 things which are charged on CFA. Okay, president salary, speaker, deputy speaker, chairman, deputy chairman salary, CAG, Supreme Court judges salary, and then UPSC office, president office, Supreme Court, and then CAG office. The expenses in this office are charged on CFI. And then any loan taken by government, central government, the interest which we have to pay, that is charged on CFI. And the last one is, if courts are given any verdict, to implement that verdict, if there is an expenditure behind, then this expenditure will comes under charged on CFI. Only these 7. Election Commission won't comes under this, because see, let's say 2024 elections came. Okay, so in the 2024, while introduction of the budget, they'll introduce some amount to the Election Commission. Okay, so this they can discuss, debate and vote. After voting, this money will be given to Election Commission. Using this money, they'll conduct elections. So MP elections budget will be like MP elections money expenditure they'll get from union budget. MLA elections expenditure they'll get from state budget. Okay, see, I mean, if you would have seen to 2024 budget, okay, that was introduced in the March. Okay, you can clearly say, see, there is an expenditure which is given to Election Commission for MP election, and for the state election, state budget. Okay, so that is not charged from CFI, because Election Commission is conducting elections for both MLAs and MPs. So state has to give its share and center has to give its share. It is not, I mean, it is not exactly fair to charge only from the union. That's the reason we excluded this from this. Okay, so Election Commission money they'll get from budget. Done? Okay, so see, we are done with budget, but not completely, because I've told you, see, I have told you opposition will introduce cut motions. So if you know what are cut motions, then only we are done with the budget. So keep a heading as cut motions. Cut motions. First one is policy cut. Policy cut motion. Okay. So here what happens is, whenever the demand for grants are introduced in the house, opposition will oppose those demand for grants. Here what happens is, they are completely opposing the policy. They are rejecting the policy, opposition. Okay, saying this policy is bakwas, this is waste. Okay, and they'll put forward a demand that this, for this policy, okay, we are, I mean, they have allocated 10,000 crores. Okay, so here what they'll say is, opposition will say, for this policy 1 rupee is enough. Okay, so they'll ask the government to make the demand for grants to reduce for 1 rupee. That 1 rupee, you have done enough work. Okay, for your hard work, you came up with the demand for grants, you calculated everything. For that reason, we are giving that 1 rupee. Okay, else we won't give you that 1 rupee even. So here simply what you have to remember is, here opposition is completely rejecting the policy. It is rejecting your policy completely, and it is asking to take the demand for grants to reduce for 1 rupee. Okay, so here opposition is rejecting the policy. Opposition rejecting the policy, and it is asking demand for grants, demand for grants reduced to 1 rupee. Reduced to 1 rupee. See, I'm not saying reduced by 1 rupee. If I'm saving, like, let's say the bill is demand for grants is 1,000 rupees. If I'm saying reduced by 1 rupee, then it is 999. But here I am saying reduced to 1 rupee. So it is 1 rupee. Okay. So here opposition is rejecting the policy, entire policy. Which means here opposition is rejecting the ideology of the government. Okay. So understood, right? Policy cut motion. Okay. So don't think much. Here opposition is just rejecting the policy, and it is making the demand for grants to reduce to 1 rupee. It is asking to reduce the demand for grants to 1 rupee. Okay. And the second one is economy cut motion. Economy cut motion. So here opposition is not rejecting your policy. Opposition is not rejecting your policy, but instead what it is doing is, like, I mean, see, in your demand for grants, there is a point to build a bathroom. To build a bathroom, 50,000 is enough, but you have mentioned 5 lakhs. So please make it 50,000. So here it is opposing the economy of the policy. Okay, which means here it is okay with the policy. The policy which you came up with, it's really good. But for that, the amount which you have written, this is not fair. Okay, so here it is like opposition not rejecting the policy. Instead, what it is asking for? It is asking for demand for grants to be reduced by certain amount. To be reduced by certain amount. How much amount? It is not mentioned. Okay, it will be decided by opposition. Let's say 1000 crores. I mean, it can say like, okay, 500 crores are enough. Please reduce the budget by 500 crores. Okay, so this is economy cut motion. Simply they can say, I mean, see, just to oppose, they'll oppose. There is nothing. So here demand for grants to be reduced by certain amount. Okay. So the third one is token cut. Token cut motion. Token cut motion. Here the token amount is 100 rupees. Here the token amount is 100 rupees. So here what happens is, if particularly, well, like budget is okay for the opposition government, but particular scheme is not okay. Particular service is not okay for the opposition government. Okay, then what they'll do is like, see, we are not okay with this particular scheme. We are not okay with this particular service. Okay, so we demand that the demand for grants to be reduced by 100 rupees. 100 rupees is the token amount. We demand that the demand for grants to be reduced by 100 rupees. Okay, so opposition will oppose a particular scheme or policy. Okay, there might be doubt in this token cut motion. Wait, I'll explain. Okay, so for now, write down. Opposition will oppose a particular scheme and or policy, and the demand of grants reduced by not reduced to, reduced by 100 rupees. Okay, I mean, what is this? I'll tell you. Okay, done. See, keep a note point. If any of the cut motion, if any of the cut motion passes, then government has to resign. 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 Okay, see, generally what happens is, just to oppose, it will oppose. Okay, while opposing the bill, let's say any of the policy cut motion is passed, then government has to resign. So first they'll come up with policy cut motion. Here they'll oppose your entire budget, saying your budget is bakwas. So please, they will ask the demand for grants to be reduced for 1 rupee, reduced to 1 rupee. Okay. So if this is not possible, then they'll ask the government, see, your policies are okay, but please reduce the amount. It is mentioned 1,000 crores, please reduce 500 crores. 500 crores is enough. This is also not passed, because if it is passed, then government will resign. And the third one is token cut motion. Definition, it is given like this: opposition will oppose a particular scheme or policy, okay, demand for grants will be reduced by 100 rupees. But why token cut motion will be introduced is, like, if opposition feels like there is no majority in the government, then what they'll do is they'll introduce token cut motion. It is just like no confidence motion. No confidence motion, first they have to introduce, okay, then president will give some time, like speaker, president will give some time. After 15 days they'll call to prove their majority. But token cut motion, once they introduce, if it is passed, then they have to resign. So it is a kind of no confidence motion with fast result. Okay, so write down kind of no confidence motion, లేదా kind of instant no confidence motion. In bracket you can write kind of instant no confidence motion. Instant no confidence motion. See, any of the three, whether it is policy cut, or it is economic cut, or it is token cut motion, if it is passed, which is showing that government didn't has majority in the Lok Sabha. Okay, and in the note you write down these motions can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. These motions can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. Okay, see, which means if you are introducing a cut motion in Lok Sabha, and if it is passing, which is showing that you don't have majority in the house. If you don't have majority, then you have to resign. Yes, that's the reason. If a cut motion is passed, then you have to resign. Your government has to resign. Understood? Any doubts? Clear everything? Maybe there is a small doubt here in the policy token cut motion, but token cut motion, it is a kind of no confidence motion, but it is like instant coffee. It is instant no confidence motion. Here, I mean, for the namesake, I mean, 100 rupees if will decrease, what will happen to the government? Even if they'll ask me, I'll phone pay them. It doesn't make any difference. But instead of introducing no confidence motion, what they are doing? Token cut motion they are introducing. So it will give them instant result. If it is passed, then government need to resign. So this is the actual truth behind token cut motion. Okay. Why? Opposition will introduce. If government, see, members of government are against the government, then they'll support the motion. Then the bill will be passed, which means government doesn't has majority. Obviously. Yes, obviously. And see, I'll tell you those things in finance commission. Okay, so finance commission will come up with some recommendations. By following the finance commission recommendations, they'll give special status to any state. Okay, so those things we'll discuss in finance commission. Article 280 we'll discuss in finance commission. I'll tell you in detail how we got a special status, like what is the process and all, everything I'll discuss in finance commission. Okay, but here if any of the cut motion is passed, then the government has to resign. Okay, so this is it all for today. We have seen budget in detail, and then we have seen token cut motions as well, I mean cut motions as well. So any of the doubts if you have, you can ask me. So budget process you understood. First they'll come up with the demand for grants. These demand for grants will be given to 24 departmental committees. These departmental committees will review the demand for grants. Once after the review, they will introduce those things. No confidence motion, schedule 10. Please define, sir. I am confused about this. No worries. Tomorrow's class, I will explain no confidence motion. Okay. All the motions, tomorrow class, I'll explain. Okay. So for now, I mean, just consider this token cut motion as no confidence motion. Instant no confidence motion. Say there is no point to confuse. No confidence motion means they are trying to prove. Opposition is trying to prove that government didn't has any confidence in the house, which means government don't has any majority in the house. See, confidence means majority. For you, confidence means knowledge. If you have knowledge, you'll have confidence. You'll achieve UPSC. For them, confidence means majority. If they have majority, they can pass a bill. Okay. So any other questions? I was discussing about the budget, right? Okay. So demand for grants, once after the review, they will be introduced in the house. Okay. Then opposition will come up with the cut motions. Cut motions, anyways, they don't pass. If they are passing, then government has to resign. Generally, demand for grants will pass. Okay. So once the demand for grants will be passed, we need to take money from the Consolidated Fund of India. To take money from the Consolidated Fund of India, we need to come up with appropriation bill. Appropriation bill are of two types. One is charged from CFI, another one is not charged from CFI. The money, the expenditure which is charged from CFI, we can discuss, but we cannot vote because it is deemed to be passed. On the other side, we have money didn't charge from CFI. On that, we can discuss and we can vote. Through voting will pass. Once after the passing, then only you can take money from the CFI. Okay, then it will reach to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can maximum hold it for 14 days. Then it will reach to President. President has to give his assent. He cannot return back the bill for reconsideration. Okay, sir, more motion is there in budgetary motion. Cut motion, it is not explained you. Sorry, sir, more motion. More motion. I didn't understand your question. Only 3 types of motions will be there. Policy cut, economy cut, and sir, which CFI expenditure is charged on central CFI or state CFI when court verdict is implemented? See, court came up with a verdict. Okay. Court came up with a verdict according to the state law. According to the state law. By following the state law, court came up with a verdict. Then state should spend the expenditure and this expenditure will be charged on state CF. Okay. If court has given verdict by following the central law, then central government expenditure should be there and this expenditure must be charged from CFI, Consolidated Fund of India. No confidence motion brings by the opposition party or ruling party. Opposition party. Here also token cut motion, it is bringing by opposition party. So no confidence motion is also bringing by opposition party. If it is passed, then government need to resign. If the opposition party brings, then which member will vote on this? Both ruling member or only opposition member? See, both. When a motion is introduced, the members of Lok Sabha will vote on it. Okay, it is the question on members of Lok Sabha. It is not the question whether it is for government or whether it is for opposition. When a motion is introduced, everyone should vote on it. If it is passed, then government need to resign. If it didn't pass, government will continue. One more motion is there in NCERT book, that is cut motion, sir. See, cut motion, guys, cut motion further divided into 3 types of motions. Okay? When I say cut motion doesn't mean, see, your question should be valid, okay? Sorry? Abhishek, I have already explained to your question. When will opposition come up with the motions only at the time of budget or in the whole year? See, these 3 cut motions, they'll come up only in the budget, only during the budget. Okay. Remaining days, we have many more motions. Okay. So please wait. Okay. Tomorrow I'll explain everything. But today, only these 3 motions. In a day, you can't observe each and everything. Okay. So for today, only 3. Same. Opposition, they'll oppose. Okay. So opposition, they'll oppose, and they have a formula here. If the motion is passed, then the government need to, cut motion is passed, then government need to resign. If a cut motion is passed, then government need to resign, then obviously opposition will take a chance. What happens? Okay. मतलब बेइज्जती थोड़ी ना होगा. Yes. If they are introducing, okay. If they are passed, it is okay. If it is not passed, okay. Opposition, anyways, it won't pass. If it is passed, okay, fine. God favored us. Okay. No, 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 no. Pavan, no. Abhishek, I'm telling you again and again. Laws which are made by government, central government, laws which are made by union. If a verdict came by following the union government laws, then then it is charged from CFI, Consolidated Fund of India, which means it is charged from union government. Okay. If the verdict is came by following the state laws, then it will be charged from state money, which means state CF, state consolidated fund. Pavan, your answer is wrong. Please correct. Any more questions? Okay, then fine. I'll take it as no. Bye then. We'll meet you tomorrow. Same you want to said, but you said different. No. In shortcut also it is not correct. See, Abhishek, Supreme Court will give its verdict following state laws and union laws. Supreme Court will give its verdict by following state laws and union laws as well. And High Court, it will give its verdict by following state laws and union laws as well. So it is wrong that, Supreme Court verdicts will be charged from CFI of central, like High Court's verdict will be charged from state CF. No, this is not correct. Okay. Okay, sir. No, I understood. Okay, fine then. Thank you.